This is Pluto, and it's not peaceful. From a distance, it looks harmless, almost gentle, a small frozen world drifting quietly at the edge of the solar system. Soft shades of white and brown, faint sunlight touching its surface. It feels calm, distant, safe. But that's an illusion. As your spacecraft moves closer, something starts to feel wrong. The sun doesn't look like the sun anymore. It's just a bright star in the sky. There's no warmth, no light reaching you the way it should. Only cold, endless, absolute cold. Your instruments begin to drop, slowly at first, temperature readings falling far below anything humans were ever meant to experience. Systems struggling to maintain heat, energy draining faster than expected. And then you notice something else, the silence. Not the quiet of space, but something deeper. A complete absence of movement. No storms, no winds, no signs of life. Nothing. You're not approaching a world. You're approaching the edge of everything. Out here, Pluto isn't violent like Jupiter. It doesn't tear you apart with storms or crush you with pressure. It does something far more terrifying. It simply lets you exist in a place where existence isn't possible. Every second you get closer, the universe feels more empty, more distant, more final. Because Pluto isn't trying to kill you. It doesn't need to. By the time you arrive, your body is already losing the fight. Your systems are already failing. And the version of you that could survive anywhere else is already gone. And that's the truth no one realizes. Pluto doesn't look dangerous, but it is. Because out here, there's nothing to save you. Long before Pluto can freeze you, it separates you. Because reaching Pluto isn't just a journey, it's a departure. When we sent humans to the moon, it took just 3 days. Mars, the next frontier, takes months. But Pluto is so far away that even our fastest spacecraft took nearly 10 years to reach it. 10 years, traveling through nothing. No nearby planets, no landmarks, no sense of direction except forward. And once you're on that path, turning back isn't simple. Because the deeper you go, the more distance becomes something else. It becomes silence. At Pluto's distance, nearly 6 billion kilometers from Earth, communication doesn't just slow down, it almost disappears. A single message takes over 4 to 6 hours to reach Earth, and another 4 to 6 hours to come back. That's not communication, that's delay. If something goes wrong, you don't ask for help, you wait. Alone, imagine facing a critical problem, a system failure, a life support issue, and knowing that any response from Earth will take half a day. By the time help arrives, it might already be too late. But the distance affects more than just communication. It changes the sky itself. Because out here, the sun no longer feels like the center of everything. It becomes just another star, a small distant point of light that barely illuminates your surroundings. There's no bright blue glow, no warmth, no sense of day, only a dim twilight that never changes. The darkness here isn't like space near Earth. It's deeper, heavier, as if the light itself gave up trying to reach this far. And in that darkness, everything feels slower, more distant, more final. Because there's nothing nearby, no planets passing close by, no moons to watch, no signs of activity, just emptiness stretching in every direction. You are no longer inside the solar system as we know it. You're at its edge. And the further you travel, the more disconnected you become from everything you've ever known. Earth becomes a memory, a pale blue dot that you can barely see. And eventually, not at all. There is no rescue mission waiting, no backup crew, no second spacecraft following behind you. Because sending anything this far takes years. And by the time anything could reach you, you'd already be gone. This is what makes Pluto different. It doesn't trap you with gravity, it doesn't attack you with radiation storms like Jupiter. It isolates you, completely. And isolation does something to the human mind. It removes reference, removes connection, removes hope. Because when you're this far away, there is no going back quickly. There is only distance, growing larger every second. And once you reach Pluto, You're not just far from Earth, you're beyond it. But distance isn't what makes Pluto truly terrifying. Because even if you could survive the journey, even if you could endure the silence, what's waiting for you there will stop you completely. If distance isolates you, Pluto finishes what isolation starts, because this isn't just a cold place. It's a place where heat doesn't exist anymore. As your spacecraft approaches the surface, your systems begin to struggle again. Not from radiation, not from pressure, from temperature. Pluto sits at around minus 230 degrees Celsius. That's not just cold, that's a level of cold where the rules of life stop working. At first, your heating systems compensate. Internal temperatures hold steady. The cabin feels normal. But outside, everything is frozen, not covered in ice the way we understand it on Earth, but locked in a permanent, unchanging state. The surface of Pluto is made of nitrogen ice, carbon monoxide ice, methane ice, materials that on Earth exist as gases. Here, they are solid, frozen into vast plains that stretch for thousands of kilometers. And the strangest part, even the atmosphere isn't safe from the cold, because Pluto's atmosphere doesn't behave like ours. It freezes. When Pluto moves farther from the sun in its orbit, the thin layer of gas surrounding the planet literally collapses and falls to the surface as snow. The air itself disappears. Imagine standing on a world where the sky slowly vanishes above you, not because of a storm, but because it froze and fell. And if you were exposed to that environment, your body wouldn't just feel cold, it would shut down instantly. The human body depends on heat to survive. Blood must stay fluid, cells must maintain a narrow temperature range. On Pluto, that balance is destroyed within seconds. Your exposed skin would freeze almost immediately. Your blood would begin to thicken. Circulation would fail. And unlike extreme heat, where damage can still take time, extreme cold like this doesn't burn. It preserves. Your body wouldn't decay. It would freeze, exactly as it is. A silent, unmoving form in a world where nothing changes. Even materials begin to fail here. Metals become brittle. Structures weaken. Mechanical systems struggle to function. Things that are strong on Earth snap under these conditions, because nothing was built for this. And then there's the silence. On Earth, cold environments still have movement, wind, shifting ice, cracking sounds. On Pluto, E is almost nothing. No wind strong enough to carry sound the way we know it, no flowing water, no life-making noise, just stillness. A kind of silence so complete, it feels unnatural, because life by nature creates motion, and Pluto has almost none. But here's what makes it even more unsettling. Pluto isn't actively trying to destroy you. There are no massive storms, no violent forces constantly tearing the surface apart. It simply exists in a state where survival is impossible. There is no fighting it, no adapting to it. Because this isn't an environment you can endure. It's an environment that stops you from functioning at all. And the longer you remain here, the more everything slows down. Your systems, your movements, your ability to think clearly, until eventually, there is nothing left to fight. Because Pluto doesn't need to attack you, it just removes the conditions required for you to exist. And yet, even in this frozen silence, Pluto is not as still as it seems. Pluto looks frozen, still, silent, unchanging. But it isn't, because beneath that quiet surface, Pluto is moving, slowly, invisibly, but constantly. As your spacecraft descends closer, the first thing you notice is the terrain. These aren't soft snowfields or smooth ice plains. They are mountains, massive jagged structures rising several kilometers high. But they're not made of rock. They're made of water ice, frozen so hard by the extreme cold that it behaves like stone, strong enough to form cliffs, rigid enough to stand for millions of years without collapsing. On Pluto, what we think of as fragile becomes unbreakable, and what looks stable isn't. Because between these mountains, something strange is happening. The surface is flowing, not like water, not like lava, but like a slow creeping ocean made of frozen gas. Pluto's vast plains, especially regions like Sputnik Planitia, are composed of nitrogen ice glaciers, and even at these extreme temperatures, they move. Incredibly slowly, but they move. Over time, these glaciers shift, reshape the land, erase impact craters, and rebuild the surface. It's a kind of motion you would never notice in real time. But it's there, always, a world that looks dead, quietly rearranging itself beneath your feet. And then there are the shadows, because out here, sunlight is weak, faint, distant. That means darkness behaves differently. Shadows stretch longer, deeper, colder. Some regions of Pluto never see sunlight at all. Entire areas remain locked in permanent darkness. Frozen voids where temperatures drop even further, where nothing changes for millions of years. If you stepped into one of these regions, you wouldn't just lose visibility. You would disappear into a place where light itself barely exists. And then there's the atmosphere, or what's left of it. Pluto's atmosphere is thin, unstable, and constantly changing. As it moves along its orbit, the slight variations in sunlight cause the atmosphere to expand and then collapse, freeze and fall, reform and rise again. It's a cycle unlike anything on Earth, a world where even the sky cannot decide whether it exists. And this instability creates something deeply unsettling, because you can't rely on anything here, not the ground beneath you, not the air above you. Everything is temporary. Everything is shifting just slowly enough that you won't notice until it's too late. And that's what makes Pluto dangerous in a way no other planet is. It doesn't overwhelm you with force. It deceives you with stillness. You look at it and see calm. You see quiet. You see something harmless. But beneath that surface, things are moving, changing, evolving in ways you can't perceive in real time. And that creates a different kind of ret. Not one you can react to. Not one you can fight. Because the danger here isn't sudden. It's subtle, gradual, inevitable. You wouldn't see it coming. You wouldn't feel it begin. And by the time you realize something has changed, there would be nothing you could do about it. And in the end, it's not the cold, or the distance, or even the silence that makes Pluto terrifying. It's the fact that it feels safe, right until the moment it isn't. By now, the truth is clear. Pluto isn't violent. It isn't chaotic. It doesn't rage like Jupiter or burn like the sun. It does something far more unsettling. It simply doesn't care. Out here, distance cuts you off from everything you've ever known. The cold shuts down your body. The silence erases every sense of movement, of life, of time itself. There is no help coming, no signal strong enough to matter, no nearby world watching. If you were here, no one would hear you, no one would see you, and eventually no one would even know you were gone. Because Pluto exists in a kind of isolation that goes beyond space. It's not just far away, it's disconnected. A place where the rules that allow life to exist simply stop applying. And that's what makes it truly terrifying. Not the temperature, not the distance, not even the darkness, but the indifference. Because on Pluto, nothing is trying to kill you. There's no force acting against you, no enemy to escape. There is only an environment where survival was never possible to begin with. And once you're there, you don't fight to stay alive. You fade, slowly, quietly, completely, not destroyed, not even remembered, just removed. From warmth, from everything that made you human. Pluto isn't the most dangerous place in the solar system because it's violent. It's dangerous because it's empty. And in that emptiness, you don't just die, you disappear.